Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. I am Pastor Guy, and this is Pastor's Corner. For those who are new to the corner, I'm Guy Watley, and welcome to my corner of the internet. It's a place where we get together once a week to encourage the believer on how to be in the world and not of the world. If you like what you hear, follow us on Facebook. Give us a likes and thumbs up and all those things. YouTube as well. Join our YouTube channel. We don't have a ton of followers, but we have a few, and we always want to increase that. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook Sunday mornings live at 10:30 Pacific time for our live stream of our Sunday morning service, and you're welcome to join us there as well. But good morning, and we're glad you're here. A couple things this morning. Distraction, I guess, is kind of my topic today. And it is so easy in our busy world, our technology-filled world, to be distracted. But there's a lot of other things going on, I think, that lead us to this distraction. And granted, the 24-hour news cycle and the mass of information that is available to us can make it difficult to keep focused on one thing. And, Satan is very good at distracting Christians, keeping us away from mission, away from what God has called us to do. And we get busy being busy, for lack of a better phrase. But I wanted to give you some examples from the world this morning, and how quickly and easily it is for the world to get distracted, or be led into distraction. And I'm going to focus on the hurricane. For those of you who don't know, a hurricane, Hurricane Helene, hit the Gulf, went up through Florida, through Georgia and North Carolina. Well, that's the main path and the main destruction. Tennessee, I mean, a lot of the states down there have been impacted one way or another. North Carolina seems to have taken the brunt of it due to flooding, the massive amounts of rainfall that the hurricane hovered over North Carolina and dumped. So I bring this up this morning because that happened on September the 26th. Today is October 2nd, for those of you keeping track, which means tomorrow it will be a week since that hurricane went through. The death toll is at 166 as I sit here right now. And most likely will climb. They never go down. They always climb when it comes to death tolls and missing people. Accountability, with our homelessness everywhere, I don't know how they're going to come up unless they have a body. So right now it stands at 166, and it stands as the deadliest, one of the deadliest storms to hit America. Why do I bring this up? Well, I remember Katrina and the flooding and the paralysis of a nation when Katrina hit Louisiana and devastated the area, because Louisiana is below sea level. A lot of it flooded, wiped it out just as bad. And I remember it was nonstop in the news and the media. It didn't end. And the current president at that time, George Bush, took a beating because a photographer took a picture of him in his airplane as he was flying over Louisiana, looking at the devastation, and they guised it like he didn't care. It was flyover country for him. When in fact he landed, went in, and did what presidents do. They show up. They show their concern. They bring with them the financial backing and power of FEMA and the U.S. government. Tomorrow's a week, and barely a peep from the current administration, the current president and vice president. They're too busy doing other things. So that got me thinking about that, and I thought, I wonder. So I went to, on the internet, I went to each CBS, ABC, and NBC. I went to their news page, abcnews.com, cbsnews.com, NBCnews. I went to those to look to see what the headlines were, to see what they were reporting about. CBS was the first one I went to, and I found one article way down at the bottom. And when I say way down at the bottom, you're scrolling and you're paging through article after article after article before I found something on Helene. Nothing on there. A lot on the vice presidential debate that happened last night. Expected. But most of the other stuff was drivel, was no impact. I think they only had like one article on the port strike, and it was what products are going to be withheld, not why isn't the president doing something about the port strike. He has it within his capacity to order them back to work while they negotiate. He won't do it. So I went to the other two sites, and the other two were better, but only slightly. ABC News had like 3 or 4 articles on the hurricane and devastation, but not what you would expect. It was more feel-good stories, impact kind of things, not necessarily talking about. Now, NBC News did have a link at the top of their page that was Helene, and you could click on that and find information. But you had to, it was buried. You had to go look for it. And I'm sure the other ones had it if you went and looked for it. I didn't go look for it because my purpose was served. They have moved on. The towns are still flooded. Thousands, tens of thousands without power. Which leads to food shortages and just all kinds of, things. And not a peep from the media. Nothing about FEMA pouring in there. And if it is, you have to search for it. In other words, it's probably happening on some level, but the media doesn't want us looking at it. They've moved on. And so the question is, why have they moved on? Is it demonic that Satan doesn't want us looking at those kind of things, seeing the destruction? Forget, live and let live, move on. I'm not here for the answer for that, but I just wanted to point out how quickly we are led into distraction by the powers that be, where we consume our information. As soon as they're ready to move off a topic, it just disappears, and we don't see anything else about it. Even on YouTube, there are videos out there, but it's not coming up as the number one thing on your feed. They've buried it. You have to look for it. And when you look for it, you can find it because people post to YouTube and there's all kinds of, there are videos, but it's not being thrusted toward us. It is being buried so that we don't focus on it, so that we don't see it? Is it because it's an election year and they don't want the current administration to look bad? You know, we could say yes, we could argue no, that there's no money in it for the news. I don't know what the answer is to that. But it just highlights how quickly we can be distracted, and our attention can be drawn away from that which it should be focused on. Right now, our nation should be focused on helping these people in the South recover from a devastating hurricane and flooding that is still going on, and no power. And granted, there are tens of thousands of volunteers and people that are on boots on the ground helping to take care of it. But our media isn't covering it like they have in the past, and like they probably should, to keep us focused there, to keep our prayers and our attention focused on it, because they don't want us to focus on it, because it's politics. That's my opinion. But Satan is good at distraction. We live in a nation with Bibles everywhere. Anybody who has a smartphone has access to a multitude of translations from the Bible, and several versions in English, and so we have it right at our fingertips, literally. But he does his best to distract us from accessing that. We have more opportunity to hear the gospel, see the gospel, preach the gospel, proclaim the gospel, respond to the gospel than any time in human history. And yet Satan manages to distract us from that exact very thing. It is phenomenal at how good he is at doing that, and how seemingly easy it comes, and we follow. We don't need look any further than the life of Jesus Christ and all that he did and the following that he had. And it took a matter of days for the Pharisees to distract the people from the reality of the miracles and the divinity of Jesus Christ, to crucifying him, because he was a threat to their current lifestyle and way of life. And nothing has changed. I'm sure that there are thousands of people in America that have no idea there was a hurricane in the South, because they just don't tune in. Life goes on. They're too busy. And then there's others, thousands, tens of thousands, that know it but have no idea how bad it was or how bad it still is. And it's because of distraction. So I just, as Christians, we need to always buckle down, always remember that Satan is there to distract, to steal our time, to steal our focus, to steal our souls, to kill and to destroy. And it's evident of really how easy it is for him to do, which is a sad commentary on the church and on us Christians. So anyway, focus on the Word, on Christ likeness. Don't get distracted. Don't look over here when you should be looking right here. And stay faithful, because the Lord is coming soon, and we want to be looking for him, because he's going to come and take us home. I'm Pastor Guy, and this has been Pastor's Corner. Just pray for those people in the South that are dealing with the devastating earthquakes. And you have a wonderful day in the Lord, and I will see you next week. Be blessed.